month of May means Indianapolis to most oval racing fans, and while the world-famous 2.5-miler may usually steal the show, no one can forget their roots. And in oval racing, the short track is where it all begins. Lucas Oil Raceway is perhaps better known to many fans as Indianapolis Raceway Park, and has boasted its own prestigious events in the night prior to the Indy 500. But all that is moot because our attention has turned to the championship battle, with only 2 points separating our main contenders. We'll see who takes the crown as we get ready to watch the season finale of the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Adam, I've talked a little bit about this track's background, but what about the stats of this place?
Yeah, tonight for our finale, Joe, we bring this series back to its short track beginnings, Lucas Oil Raceway, located just west across the 465 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This flat, challenging 0.69 mile or 1.1 kilometer track will be the site of the title-deciding fight between William Hartman and Bradley Hawley and their teams, Savage Drive and Texas Racing. Hosting many of the NASCAR series, this legendary Indiana track is a traditional regional oval with no dogleg. But with 4 12-degree bank turns and a wide racing surface, there will be a lot of door banging and bumper clanging tonight, as there is a lot on the line. Tensions will be high as the drivers attempt to keep their trucks tucked right along the wall all the way around the track, which is very much risk versus reward. This will allow for late inside dives into the corners, but such moves will burn up the tires very fast. These drivers are in for the fight of their season tonight, Joe, and I'm too excited to wait any longer. Let's get underway with a lap in a NASCAR Gander Series truck around Lucas Oil Raceway in our GSRC lap guide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Brian Yazik. This is the Lucas Oil Raceway in the GSRC Chevrolet Silverado. It's a fun little short track, lots of places to run, but it can be very, very tricky all at the same time. So for our track guide for your hot lap, you're probably going to see guys dive it right through here, through the middle of the corner, a lot of off-throttle time. You can kind of roll back into it a little bit, but what you run the risk of is plowing this thing right out towards that Kroger sign right there on the wall and really ruining your whole day. 3 and 4, same situation. Kind of let it float here through the middle. Maybe you're going to see guys cut it there just a little bit to try to get a straighter run off the corner, but back out to the wall. As the run progresses, you're still going to see guys floating all over. Probably still going to be running that middle groove down here to the bottom. That's probably going to be the line. Now, this is in the daytime, so there's a little less grip out there. So at night, you might see a little bit more grip, a little better for these drivers. Still, though, around turn 4 and out of the exit of both corners, what you run the risk of is plowing up and hitting the fence, and it really will slow your momentum down. Now, this is where Lucas is a little unique, because you can run this all the way up here by the fence and try to get a straighter run off the corner. Depends on how your driving style works and how your line is, but it might be faster this way, it might be faster on the bottom. That's the beautiful part about Lucas Oil. Fun little track, gives the drivers a lot of avenues and grooves to run in. Sure to put on a good show for the fans and the drivers alike. This is your lap guide around the Lucas Oil Raceway. I'm Brian Yazik.
You see it during the daytime, but we're racing at night for the finale. Very appropriate. And, of course, founded in 2005, we can't forget about Established Traffic Control. They are a sponsor, and they are a leader in traffic control and safety in the state of Pennsylvania through maintaining great relationships and providing exceptional customer service. In addition to being able to provide all your needs for traffic safety, ETC makes custom signs. From street signs to company logos and everything in between, these custom signs make great gifts and wall decor. You have a design, ETC can make it. Shipping is available. For more info, visit establishedtraffic.com or email Brendan Chatley at bchatley@establishedtraffic.com. We talked about that championship situation coming into this, so why don't we take a look at the standings? There are drop points involved, but really it should be mostly straightforward because you can see there are 2 points separating Hawley and Hartman. So all Hawley has to do is score 24 points or more, and at least has the opportunity. If he scores less than 24 points, then Hawley will not be able to take the championship. Haynes stays there in third place. He's got his watch out, because look at Colton Lane and Delk. They are both right on his tail. That battle for third place could be just as exciting as the fight for the Drivers' Championship. What about the Teams' Championship? Adam, how's that sitting?
Well, in 5th place, we have Back Row Racing, 42 points behind the lead. 4th place is Car Ramrod, really close to Forever Cupless Racing, just about 5 points behind them. But it's the battle for the lead we're looking at between Texas Racing with Bradley Hawley and and Hunter, as well as Savage Drive with Hartman and Richer. These guys are only 4 points separated, so this is going to be a very, very exciting fight to the end.
Currently in the middle of qualifying and Houndshell actually up at the top of it. Where are our championship rivals, though? Hawley looks to have not set a lap yet here in qualifying. No, he has actually just set it, and that puts him on the front row, so that's very nice for the 184.
Definitely, yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see. Pole position is a really important thing on this track, considering of where the trucks run on that high line. So they're going to have to be very careful to get that track position early on in order to secure their positions on track.
Now, I'm not seeing William Hartman in his car yet, and he's still waiting to take a lap. Granted, they don't take too long to get around here, but hopefully he gets out there and gets going. In the meantime, we're going to be taking a look at Shatley, the Pennsylvania driver, working his way around. Also setting his first lap time, coming up and across the start-finish line. Let's see what the number 59 has underneath him. Oh, and it looks like that was his warm-up lap, so this one should be the first timed one. He works his way into turn 3. You can see him staying up to the high side, then cutting down low off the corner, trying to get the jump off of it. A 21-1 is going to be good enough for 5th place for Brendan. He's got one more lap to go, and then he is out of qualifying laps. Going to get on the front 2 rows. Out of 3 into 4 onto the front stretch. And he's a little bit faster, but only marginally. And he does get onto the front 2 rows. He's going to be in 4th position. Ray Richer has set one lap time, good enough for 11th, but has one more lap to go. Let's see if this is going to be any sort of improvement. Go ahead.
Take a look at that qualifying line that they're running.
Certainly seems to be a little bit different from what he was doing in the race with it cutting down. We're looking at Austin Hunter now, just starting his qualifying, but we're running out of time, and still our championship leader in the points has not put a lap time in. He is starting at the back as the way things sit, and it's too late to get the car rolling. In fact, Hunter's warm-up lap was what we just saw, so he is not going to get a time in because the clock is ticking down and time is up. So that makes for a fascinating championship battle on our hands, because the pole sitter may be Jake Houndshell, but Bradley Hawley, who is only 2 points behind for the championship lead, starts on the front row while his rival is way far back there. Thomas Cink will be in P3 with Brendan Shatley starting in 4th. Robert Malekian, starting P5 with Colton Lane in 6th position. Inside of row 4 has Adam Zanke in 7th. Mike Richter starts in 8th. 9th goes to Robert Besaw Jr. And then Rob Haynes, Adam, will start in 10th.
Definitely. Starting on row 6 is Ray Richer in the 11th position. One of the teammates to our leading 2 drivers, so that's going to be an interesting position for him. Dominic Magine in the 12th position. A good start for him. Jason Houndshell back in 13th alongside John LaBath. And then Nicholas Delp, 15th. Ronald McManus, 16th. And then we have James Thorndike is not going to be participating tonight. And then J.R. Smith and William Hartman are going to start in the very back. That's going to be very, very tough for both of them, especially William Hartman, our championship leader. And we have Eric Roberts starting in the back, as well as Austin Hunter. So it's a very, very interesting developments here tonight.
Now, you and I were talking before the race, and you were saying you were expecting a fair bit of yellows just due to the nature of this track. I mean, is Hartman maybe banking on a lot of chaos up there? Is there any sort of strategy, or can you not understand this as much as I can't?
Well, I actually was able to watch Hartman do his qualifying run, and he hit the wall pretty hard on the exit of 1 and 2 on his first lap. And so because of where you start in the pit lane, he wasn't able to get a second lap in that was going to qualify for a time. So it's actually a mistake that puts him in the back of the field. He's going to start 18th.
That makes so much more sense now that you've gone back and checked that out. Well, this certainly hurts things for him as we wait for the cars to take off behind the Mustang pace car. Now it's getting going, exiting out. We'll get, I believe, 2 pace laps around here. Then we will go racing for 120 laps. Hopefully, we are limited to about 55 minutes. So we expect to get it in time, but if not, well, you won't be waiting here too long if we do have a lot of cautions. See them all following behind the pace car. Take a quick look at the weather. You also mentioned this, Adam, saying that you expect this should really help the tire wear from what we're seeing with conditions here at night.
Yeah, I don't think tire wear is going to be so much of an issue, at least not with triggering pit stops, but it will be an issue as they start to get later on in the run. As those tires that high line that they run when the tires start to wear out, it's going to make it very stressful for them to run up there. So some of them might decide to move down to the mid or even the low line, but I highly doubt that that'll trigger green flag pit stops, as I expect we'll get a couple of cautions because of how risky that outside line is to run.
On to the back stretch one more time. Then we go racing. They have an early entry for the pits here, as you see the Mustang pace car come in before turn 3. So it's been given control to Jake Hounshell, waiting patiently to go.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is out here for the finale, and he does not get a good jump at all. In fact, on the outside, Bradley Hawley looks like he might even take the lead away into the first corner. He's up in front, and he is clear.
Yeah, Bradley Hawley pulling away from Jake Hounshell right now. And then in third position, Brendan Chatley has pulled in front of the likes of Atomic Cink.
Yellow flag is out.
Oh, we got a wreck in the backfield.
Already we've got problems. This was the green car of Robert Melikian getting sideways initially, but he didn't come out the worst of it. It's bumped by, looks like, Mike Richter. And then behind him, the big checkup that naturally happened. Let's see. Ray Richer, unfortunately, spins to the inside and then is clobbered by Nicholas Delp.
If this night wasn't already going bad for Hartman, that's Hartman's teammate. That's who he needs to be up front for the team battle. So this is really unfortunate for him as we watch the replay. He just had nowhere to go, Joe.
Yeah, pretty much stuck with a lot of smoke and a lot of cars all around you and no place to escape. Hartman has gotten up to 15th position and just that 3/4 of a green flag lap that we saw. So he's making quick progress. He still has time to do plenty. Watching from the Michigan driver's perspective in the cockpit here. They're just going to pace a little bit more and then we'll get to go green once again, Adam.
And this track is extremely slick. It's one of those tracks that's very difficult to get the trucks turned in at, especially with only 12 degrees of banking and how short this track is. It's really difficult to get the trucks to rotate in the middle of the corner. But then if you have a setup that does rotate in the middle of the corner, that makes the truck extremely loose on exit. So this fixed setup has gone and been a little bit conservative, I think, and so that's what's causing them a little bit of the sliding into the corners that we saw when they were too wide.
Obviously everyone on equal footing here with that fixed setup, but doesn't mean that you are used to it, of course. Now, they are behind the pace car, and they still have the lights on, so I believe we should have the one to go this time by.
We actually had a couple people take pit stops. We had Dominic Bajin, and then those who were involved in the wreck of Ray Richer, Robert Malikian, Adam Zemke, and Nicholas Delp. So an early pit stop for Dominic Bajin, an interesting strategy there. Ray Richer not taking much damage. His stop was on time, so he's decided that it's not damaged enough to stay around for damage repair. So he's gone out, and he's going to line up in the 15th position.
Delp and Malikian, as well as Richer, also involved in that incident, so that could explain why we saw them in and getting repairs. Meanwhile, they're now doubled up, getting ready to go green. Once more, the Mustang pace car going to peel into the pit lane. This time, though, it was reversed on the front row. Holly's got the inside. On his outside, it is Houndshell. Now, is Holly going to be able to get a better jump than his cohort did on the initial green flag?
Green flag, green flag.
Yes, he does. Much, much better. He can slot up if he wants to, and indeed, he is all the way up to the high side as Chatley now ducks to the inside through 1 and 2. Could he maybe take this position away? He tries to slide up, but there is the O2 there immediately taking the spot.
This is a very interesting battle as they're up front there with Brendan Chatley and Jake Houndshell. Thomas Cink looking on. Chatley's going to have to fall in behind Houndshell, and that allows Cink to come up behind him, and they start to go single file now as we get later on.
Watching from Cink's view, following in the wake of Chatley. You can see them all riding right up there just by that outside wall, coming off of 4 back on the front stretch once more. Cink does have a little bit of company behind him. Mike Richter as well giving chase back there in P5 in the number 51 truck.
Actually, if we could go back to P10, William Hartman's been having some trouble getting past some cars, and Jason Houndshell and Dominic Bajin are actually battling it out for 11th behind him. But William Hartman up to P10, an impressive run for him, 5 positions up just from that green flag.
Oh, and a little bit of the wall for Austin Hunter there. Saw sparks flying. Manages to keep it going. Looks like he'll survive with that damage for the moment.
On board with Hunter now, and take a look at his run. He got really squeezed up there by Dominic Bajin ahead of him. He was really struggling to keep it off of the wall for 1 and 2 there. So looks like he's headed backwards a little bit right now as we get further on in this green flag run.
Gene, the lone Canadian racing here today as he chases Jason Houndshell up to 6th place. We've got a train of 3 cars. That's Colton Lane ahead of Rob Haynes and John LeBaff. Moving behind them a little bit side-by-side action. William Hartman still making forward progress. He's now up to 9th, managing to sneak by Besaw.
He's using up a lot of his tires, Joe, in these early passes. I think he's banking on there being another caution soon, but these guys are mostly single file at this point. So unless someone makes a significant mistake and clobbers that outside wall and spins down low, he might be in trouble here as we get later on in this run.
Well, and if it stays green as well, if we look at the leader, Holly's 1.2 seconds up on Houndshell. He's streaking away. Good news for him, but bad news for the rest of the field, especially for our championship leader, Hartman.
Yeah, looking at what some of the drivers were talking about before the race, they all said that Bradley Holly has a very amazing knowledge of this course. He seems to understand it better than just about anybody, so it's no surprise to see him pulling away, but that's not very good for our championship contending Hartman.
Hartman's already left Besaw behind and is starting to challenge on the 911 of LeBaff. LeBaff is at the tail of these 3 cars we were talking about not long ago. Haynes ahead of them, Colton Lane, who's now run down the likes of Mike Richter. Thomas Cink, the next one up ahead of them, and by that point he gets into the front 2 rows.
Going on board with Hartman, let's see how he's making this progress up. He's actually staying up high through the first part of each corner, and then he dives down low to try and put the power down and get some more power out of the corner. As we see John LeBaff try and do the same, he gets a little bit too high. William Hartman looking on the inside, but that's not enough of a run. We'll see whether he makes a dive down here.
LeBaff flirting with that outside wall, getting awful close. gives much more leeway coming through 3 and 4. Doesn't give a chance to Hartman quite yet. Oh, we got a car up on the wall ahead of them, dropping back. That's Mike Richter, loses 1 position out to Colton Lane. He's being threatened by Rob Haynes, who's down to his inside. They're going to stay side by side through 3 and 4, but with the desired line going to Richter, I think he's going to fend him off for now.
We're going to take the replay with Richter now. We're going to see what happens here with his truck. He just dives in a little bit too deep there, and as we're on board and taking a look, he's powering through, but he just dives in a little bit too deep, gets a little bit, I think a little bit of wheel hopping even, and just hits the outside wall, and that's what slowed him down and brought the others into contention, allowing Colton Lane to get by.
Back live, only limited it to 1 position lost. Behind them, we haven't missed anything with Hartman. He's still trailing LeBaff. And it seems like now that he's made his way up to this group, he's having a lot harder time making progress.
Well, LeBaff is a very strong driver and a very aggressive driver as well. He tends to be one who's going to block your line if he notices that you're trying to set up for a pass. So William Hartman's got his work cut out for him as we go on board with LeBaff looking back.
Watching from the gearbox, and Hartman in that bright yellow car can't be missed, but certainly he's missing out on the lead through 1 and 2. Just stays right behind, sizing him up, seeing if he can find some sort of weakness in the armor. Ahead of him, you can kind of see it, that it looks like Haynes and Richter are getting very, very close in some of these corners. Haynes almost putting the bumper to him.
I'm going to take a look right now. I think these trucks are actually starting to get pretty neutral. They're having 4-wheel slides in and out of the corners, and that's not really what you want to experience as a driver. It's very unsettling to drive a truck that handles like this because you don't know where the edge of grip is. It's much better to have a truck that's either loose or tight in this situation, but these truckers with these fixed setups, they just got to deal with it and put some more brake bias in and try and change the characteristics of that truck and see how it handles.
My goodness, Richter's really being hounded by Haynes. Apologies if I call these cars at any points coming from typically the road racing side. Oh, and into the wall again! Haynes gets into the side of Richter. They both go spinning, and he gets turned completely around as LeBaff finishes him off. That had multiple layers of things happening.
Very interesting. Let's watch Richter here as he hits the wall again a little bit, and that has Haynes really come down and clobber him, and so he just got lucky. They both got lucky that it wasn't worse than it was, believe it or not.
We're going to watch from on board of LeBaff, and then after that, can we get an onboard from Hartman? Because remember, championship contender here, he nearly got involved in this. You see LeBaff definitely does, the Carolina driver getting into Richter. This is Hartman's view.
Take a look here. He's going to come into the corner and see it developing ahead of him, and he just hits the brakes and is extremely gentle and realizes they're going to turn low and puts the power down and powers straight out of the corner. A really good move from him.
Remember, they have no spare cars in this series, so if something happens, then you've got to get those repairs or just gut it out and hope that it's not too bad. Hartman, after the pit stops have taken place, is going to come back out in 6th position with all the chaos in front of him. And the caution, Adam, is going to bunch things back up, so he's even closer to Holly.
We've seen how strong Hartman is on those fresh tires. It's gonna be amazing to see what kind of work he does here. We know how desperate he is to get to the front, but at this point, with only 26 laps down, it might actually be time to be patient for Hartman. He'll suss it out, and we'll watch to see what he does here once we get back to the green flag.
Still got a little bit more to go. We ride on board with our current leader in the points. All this focus on him, we really haven't given enough credit to Bradley Hawley and the race that he's been running. The 184 has stretched out to all the other trucks on track and just has not looked back. Is there any disadvantage, do you think, to doing that, to using up your tires and stretching out that gap just because of the likelihood of cautions?
Well, to be honest, I don't think so. I think Bradley Hawley is just running his pace and his race. He has a better understanding of these trucks than some of the series regulars do. A lot of these guys race trucks a lot, but Bradley Hawley races trucks quite a bit more than most, and also at this racetrack. So if anyone's going to understand how to manage tires here at this specific track, it's going to be Bradley Hawley. So I think he's got his head in the game, and he knows what he's trying to do here, and he's executing it to perfection.
Already had quite a bit of attrition. Delp, Roberts, Smith, Thorndike, and I believe Chandler was a did not start for the series. Have all disappeared from the track. Looks like we should get lights out this time by as we come to the start-finish line. And indeed, now we see Houndshell move back up to the outside. Also want to give a mention to the number 59, Brendan Chatley, who has been holding down that third place all race long. It's been very quiet, but running consistently.
Yeah, Brendan Chatley, our series sponsor, he's been very consistent over the past couple of races, just the victim of bad fortune. So it's going to be awesome to see if he can make a move for the lead here.
He's going to get the chance. Maybe he could get himself a jump off the start. They're waiting on Bradley Hawley to decide. Out of turn four.
Green flag.
There's the jump. Green flag is out once more. Bradley Hawley immediately up to the front. But it's a battle for that second place. Chatley has the inside. Not desirable here at IRP. And it looks like Houndshell is going to take second place away. Immediately Brendan moving up to the high line. Fend off anybody challenging from behind. But we got three wide, including William Hartman involved.
Yeah, Hartman is definitely faster than these guys. He's stuck behind Colton Lane right now on the high side. He goes up and just barely touches the wall with the right rear. He's really on a move, and he wants to get past these guys really quick. Battling now with Thomas Cink.
This is going to be a losing battle, most likely, for Thomas Cink. He knows it. He slots back into sixth position. Still cars fighting behind them, but that gets sorted out. Houndshell ahead of Labatt for 8th and 9th, mostly single file.
Oh, we have some trucks on the wall behind them. It looks like that was the number 7 of Adam Zemke in the 12th position. And we have trucks in the wall all over the place now as we go through 3 and 4. These trucks are really starting to handle rough as we get down here to the later stages of this race.
Yeah, I saw Richter almost get into the side of Besaw and turn him through 3 and 4, but I think they've got it sorted out. Oh, and a big shove from behind for Dominic Bijin. It looks like Austin Hunter's going to have some severe damage on his nose. You can see it there as he drops back.
Yeah, Hunter's down on power now. That's going to be a huge bane to Bradley Hawley. That's his teammate. We've seen both teammates of the championship leaders struggle in this race. As he's alongside with Robert Bassad Jr. now, it's just going to be a recovery drive for him. He's got to do his best to try and wait out this attrition and make as many points as possible if he's going to support Bradley Hawley going on to the later stages of this race.
What a turn for a Hunter. As we take a look at 6th place, Cink ahead of Rob Haynes coming through 3 and 4. They recently got overtaken by Hartman, who's already pulled a gap to them. They've resorted to squabbling with each other as a small peek to the inside from Rob Haynes tries to square off the exit and does it beautifully to get by Cink.
Yeah, Cink got extremely high in that corner and had to get off the gas and wasn't able to take the exit that he wanted. That allowed Rob Haynes to dive to the inside, use up a little bit of tires, but gain position.
So he was qualifying the 48th. He's probably got a sinking feeling. He's with 3rd and is all the way down to 7th now. Meanwhile, looking at Bijin just behind them. Oh, a little bit of the wall for Dominic. That's going to give Zemke a thought about the inside down through 3 and 4.
Yeah, Zemke's been struggling with this track. He doesn't really quite understand it as well as these other guys. He's down 4 positions from his starting position, and he's sideways through the corner. He manages to keep it off the wall. Amazing save from Zemke.
And Richer had to really dive low to stay out of him. The 88 doesn't get a position for him. Certainly set the cat amongst the pigeons behind them, because Mike Richter is now on the outside of Robert Malikian, who loses out using that low line. In fact, he's just going to give it up and slot into line just behind Besaw.
Zemke's rear tires are gone as he creates this battle behind them. He's really struggling with a loose truck now, and that's something that we haven't seen all night from these guys. He's going to be struggling in a way nobody really understands, so they're going to have to find a way by him.
And don't forget Mike Richter. He's already taken a little peek on Ray Richer, if that isn't confusing enough. Both of them, looks like they're trying to square off the exit of 2 quite a bit.
That tends to be a decent way to drive this course. It's a good way to get a good runoff at guys ahead of you. And with Zemke being loose, he can't pull that traction. He can't keep the traction to keep that truck squared off on the exit of 2. So these guys are both going to try and make that work and try and get a good run at him. But it's not really working for Ray Richer, is it?
Certainly not. The 88 and the 51 are a little bit stuck. 51 going to get more desperate. Puts it side by side through 3, loses out, and 4 behind him. You've got the charging Besaw with a great run, not enough of one as they run out of track, and the number 7 is in the wall fully. The 88 takes advantage, finally spying an opening, runs through the door. Can he shut it though? He gets into 3, move the 88 up into 11.
We'll see whether Mike Richter can do the same. He's stuck on the inside now, and that's not preferred. Wow, they get extremely tight as they exit 4, and they get really tight back there with Robert Besaw Jr. and Robert Malikian as well. And now Zemke's got it back under speed. But Mike Richter trying to get by on the inside. Not going to work this time.
This is a nightmare scenario for the number 7. The Illinois driver is struggling like crazy with a bunch of trucks all over him.
Looks like Ray Richer clipped the wall there exiting that corner. So these truck drivers are starting to collect some damage here, and they're going to be looking to try and slim these trucks down a little bit with the wall contact.
Speaking of slimming things down, we check on 3rd place because Chatley has both Lane and Hartman right on top of him. Hartman's left everybody else behind, is looking to maybe get himself onto the podium, but he's got 2 trucks left to try and manage that.
Hartman's trying to square off 4 like we saw Robert Besaw Jr. and Mike Richter doing, but he's struggling a lot more with a tight truck than those guys in the back are. So he's having a hard time trying to keep up with Colton Lane and get a good run off the corner, but he's going to have to make a run to the inside if he's going to make that pass.
Zemke's lost 2 more positions. Besaw and Richter have squeezed on through, and now Malikian's going to try and give a go at it. They've also been caught by McManus and Hunter. All trucks running currently are on the lead lap.
That's a miracle considering all the attrition we've seen so far and the struggles of Austin Hunter. He is 22 seconds off the back of the pack, so he's going to have a really hard time catching up now. But Zemke still struggling with a loose truck back there.
Just about reached the back of the pack. Boy, you talked about Hunter struggling. He's trying to make a pass anyways. Oh! And he actually gets into the side of the number 78.
William Hartman has gotten inside of Colton Lane a couple times now, and he's trying to make that pass work. Colton Lane sticking out on the high side, but Hartman's desperate to get by. And while we're talking about that, the battle for the lead is also heating up. Hawley has not gotten away from Jake Hounshell. Jake Hounshell right on his tail.
Oh, what a turn of events. Jake maybe saving his stuff a little bit here, Adam? Do you think maybe just Hawley burning him up as we watch this battle for 3rd continue?
Yeah, I'll be honest, Joe. I think it's actually Hawley saving his stuff, maybe, but that doesn't seem to be the case because Hawley took off last run, so it's possible that Jake is just able to stay with him. We've seen how talented Jake has been ever since he joined the series midway through the season, but it's very interesting as we go back and take a look at this battle for 3rd position, which is really heating up now. And
I think right now that Hartman is Lane's biggest fan, if anything, because Lane's been poking his nose on the number 59, but I suspect that if the 60 car gets on that low side, we're going to see that yellow truck just immediately slot up on his outside to try and keep him from being able to move back up.
And Colton Lane has made some really drastic brake bias adjustments. You see his car twitching as he gets into the corners, and that means that he's really on the ragged edge. All of these top 5, top 6 drivers we're on board with Colton Lane as we watch him go through the corner. He's really, really fighting hard to keep that truck going in a straight line and going fast.
See how he turns it into the corner here.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
Oh, we got a caution. It is Richer through 1 and 2. Oh, wow, this involved a number of trucks. Let's see what the replay shows. Richer tried to turn in. I think he had some net code, honestly. Richter was to his inside. That bounced him out to the wall. Poor Besaw had no place to go. The 7 spun trying to avoid it all. And I tell you what, Malikian was the luckiest guy you've ever seen, threading the needle, getting through it all.
Yeah, Richard just, you know, the victim of netcode and two wrecks that really didn't have much with him. But watch Malikian here as he goes through this pile. He sees that big mess up ahead of him, staying low, trying to get by Adam Zemke, and then he'll watch this develop, watch him snake through. He just barely makes it, sneaks right by. Amazing driving from Malikian.
Even with a tiny little touch. And Jake Houndshell, as we come back live, has jumped Holly in the pits. Holly has lost the lead for the first time since the start of the race.
And that is big news, but we also saw how the restarts, Bradley Holly is really on it. So if Jake Houndshell could do the same thing that Bradley Holly's been doing and gap him on the restarts, he may have a really good opportunity to run away with this thing, as we are just across halfway.
So 2 points is very, very marginal. And with them this close on track, I'm taking a glance to see at the situation. It looks like we are 1 point for every position, pretty much all the way down. So what's actually, how many wins do they each have here? Let me check the stats, because it could come down to that if they wind up tying.
But you have to remember the bonus points as well. Neither of them qualified on pole, so that's 2 points that they don't get. But leading the most laps, Bradley Holly is up there for that right now, and that would be 2 points as well. And each of them get a point for leading a lap. Currently, William Hartman has not. Bradley Holly has, so that's another point in Holly's favor. And then the fastest lap also gets a point. So it's this, with 4 points, this is not over regardless of who finishes where on track.
I tell you what, though, if Hartman wants to get that most laps led bonus, he's got to get up there right now. It's only 120 laps, and nearly 60 in, with about 55 of them belonging to Holly. The chances are slim of him overtaking him. All right, it's back in the hands of Houndshell. Last time he didn't get a good jump. Let's see if he's figured this one out this time. Green flag is out. This time it is much better for the number 02. He's up to the front, as Holly is going to be able to easily take second place. Chatley having to fight it out with Colton Lane all the while. Oh, we got to spin behind them. That was LeBaff. Oh, T-boned hard by Zemke.
These two drivers have been struggling all night, and it looks like LeBaff and Zemke are both going to take some major damage from this one, especially Adam Zemke. Watch on board as it looks like the 00 gets into it.
Yeah, that was Houndshell, Jason Houndshell. Just barely tipped him, but it was enough.
On board with Zemke, let's watch how he gets through here. It looks like the 312 of Austin Hunter also got some damage from that. That is Bradley Holly's teammate again with damage. Wow, Zemke just nowhere to go. The seas parted, and there was John LeBaff right there, and he just clobbered him.
And pretty much shoved into place by Hunter, who gets more front-end damage, unfortunately, on that poor truck. He's going to immediately come in for repairs in hopes that he can get a little bit of speed out of that thing. Aerodynamics not too important, but as you mentioned, that is where the engine is, so hopefully he hasn't disadvantaged himself too greatly with these multiple contacts we've seen.
And Joe, both of the championship leaders' teammates in the pits right now. Austin Hunter, the 312, and Ray Richer, the 68, back in 13th and 15th positions. Both of these guys having horrible nights, while their championship contending teammates are up at the front, really slugging it out.
Holly and Hartman have to be wondering, do we have to carry this thing ourselves? Holly's still in second place, though, after barely getting half a lap in. Houndshell, of course, going to take the top. And William Hartman still not, he's staying in 5th place. He's not been able to make progress for quite a while.
Colton Lane, a very quick driver. Brendan Chatley consistently up at the front. However fast William Hartman is, this track very much is about track position, and so he's going to have to really throw some moves down at the beginning of these restarts in order to make up positions, and being stuck on the inside, that's going to be a real struggle for him.
So if Hartman can at least get up to the front, he can get 1 bonus point to nullify those 2 for leading the most laps that we're likely thinking Holly is going to have. Depending on what happens with Houndshell, though, Jake Houndshell could lead the rest of this race and deny him those extra bonus points. Got a little bit of time, so I believe we've got enough that we can take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll come back with more of the finale here in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series. Welcome back to Lucas Oil Raceway. You're watching the latest restart here on lap 63. Jake Houndshell is on the inside leading the way. He's going to take off pretty well in that 0-2. While the 184 Bradley Holly once again going to get into that second place, but not for long, because already Holly looking to try and get back up to the lead. Wants to put as many positions as he can between himself and his championship rival, who is stuck on the low side. Down in 5th position, William Hartman, and the number 67, the yellow car, the bright yellow car you see back there, comes back into line. Everybody now going single file.
And they're actually stacking up behind Brendan Chatley.
Sorry, Holly managed to get down to the inside of the 0-2 and is trying it. Looks for another run down into 3, gunning it off of turn 4. Nothing doing for the 184.
Trying to make that pass on the inside is really difficult, but Bradley Holly is going to go for it. He knows this track really well. He knows how long he's got before his tires go away, and he's going to try and make that move work. He's trying to stick it out, but look at that. Jake Houndshell dives down into his lane to try and cut him off.
This is short track racing, Adam, so I have to ask, has Holly been known to use a little bit of the chrome horn in the past? Because he's starting to get a little antsy here.
Holly has been a pretty clean driver this entire season, so I'd be surprised to see him use it, but if there was a time to use it, now is the time. And so if Bradley Holly is going to use that chrome horn, it'll be tonight.
You can see how close he was getting to the back of Jake Houndshell's truck once again, getting all the way underneath that bumper. Still not touching him, though. They are pulling away from 3rd place Chatley. And that's unfortunate news for William Hartman, who's, of course, behind that truck, and one more in the form of Colton Lane.
Oh, Colton Lane sideways! He's in the wall! That's going to allow Hartman to get by if he can get up to speed.
Patience is a virtue in the form of the number 67 finally getting ahead into 4th place. He gives chase on Brendan Chatley.
And we had a change for the lead there. Bradley Holly got around Jake Hounshell, but Jake Hounshell challenging for the inside now. He actually gets into Holly, and Holly's in the wall now.
Holly carries the speed. Can he fully get by turn 3? Another attempt from the O2 as he blinks out. Bradley Holly still marginally has the top spot. And all this has done is slowed them up tremendously because Brendan Shatley is gaining fast. He's bringing along the championship rival for Holly, William Hartman, still side-by-side door banging between the O2 and the 184.
Shatley's got a great seat here, but he's got to decide which lane he's going to go with. And it looks like the high lane with Bradley Holly is going to be the one to go. But man, Jake Hounshell keeping it strong on the inside. These two battling it out for so long. Holly's in the wall again.
And I think the O2's finally got it. Immediately the 184 ducks down trying to cover off Brendan Shatley, who will stay in third. But they have been caught, and there is now a mere one truck between Hartman and Holly.
Joe, you got to ask yourself, if you're Bradley Holly, is this the guy I really want to be beating and banging doors with? Is this the guy I want to be dueling with who's going to get me into the wall? He knows his championship contender is Hartman, not Jake Hounshell. So this is a really interesting decision from Holly to duke it out. Wow, as Bradley Shatley gets into the wall of the exit, William Hartman goes on.
Looking for the door here. This is what Hartman needs to close up this championship. He could potentially just ride behind Holly, depending on how the bonus points swing. Can he finally get past the number 59 truck? He's got the inside. He's going to try and swing up. He has the opening. He's got the spot. Move William Hartman onto the podium.
Hartman used a ton of tires there to make that run work. He almost lost control of that truck through the corner. So he's really on a charge now, and he's going to try and get to Bradley Holly as quickly as possible because he knows that Holly is hurting.
Holly will own the tiebreaker, and though we believe Holly should be able to get most laps led based on him being able to get up to the front for a few more here, we have to point out he touched the wall a lot of times. There's bonus points for a clean race. Has Hartman been clean enough to get those bonus points?
Something we're not going to know till the end of the race. It'll be interesting to see whether Hartman can get up to those two, whether those two will continue to battle. Fight is far from over, Joe.
This is going to be decided by oh so little. On board with the 67 of William Hartman, who's dropped off slightly from Bradley Holly. Surprising considering how much damage I have to imagine the 184 got with all the times he pancaked that right side.
As you said earlier, Joe, it's not about the downforce. It's just about what kind of aggression you could put on the track. But Holly's losing track of Hounshell. You could see he's already half a second back. Hounshell is starting to get away from him, and Hartman's starting to close in.
It's been another long green flag run. We still have 14 cars running on track. As for time remaining, just double checking, my clock might be off because I'm seeing 15 minutes left, and I don't believe that is accurate. We're now down to 40 laps to go. And it's right, it is 14 minutes left on the clock right now. Boy, time flies.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm not sure whether or not they're going to make it to the checkered flag here, so that's why you see Hartman being so aggressive. But Holly's starting to catch up again, and he's cooled down his tires and is starting to make a charge back up to Hounshell, as Hounshell clearly loose entering the corner.
As loose as he is, he's not loosening his grip on this lead quite yet. 3/10 between himself and Holly. Hartman's starting to look like he's regaining things. 0.5 of a second between himself and Bradley. They're running roughly 21-second laps. Don't ever ask us to do math here on air, but we're going to try. Try to figure out if they're going to be able to make it to the end. Only a couple cautions so far. Otherwise, has been a relatively clean race.
Hartman cutting about a 100th out of a lap, out of the lead per lap. So that's not very much time, but these guys might be saving their tires knowing that this is going to go for a while. And so Hartman knows that, you know, even with just 100th in the bag as he starts to move forward, that might be enough to get him to the bumper by the time this thing runs out, if we go green. And I don't think fuel's going to be an issue anymore, Joe. I think they're good to go.
It's all about who can do it out on track. They work their way through 1 and 2 one more time. All equidistant now. Holly losing touch. And they have left the rest of the field behind. It is over a second back to Chatley. Chatley's got a little bit of a problem behind him. Rob Haynes now the one that's been hassling him. And he's bringing friends along. Thomas Cink has recovered recently. So has Colton Lane, who we saw get turned around not long ago.
Yeah, really good recovery from Colton Lane considering what happened to him earlier on. And him and Thomas Cink are starting to get up to the back of Rob Haynes. And Brendan Chatley keeping it consistent there, but he's getting caught by this pack for sure.
Right on board with the number 29 of Rob as he tries to chase down Chatley. He's not as close up to Brendan as Cink is behind him, except it looks like mid-corner. Wow, he really closes mid-corner.
Yeah, Rob Haynes is kind of diamonding the corners a little bit. He's carrying a lot of speed in, and then he kind of slows down mid-corner and then really yanks on the wheel, turns it, and then powers straight out. So he's trying a different strategy than Brendan Chatley ahead of him. He's just trying to coast it all the way through.
Back up to the front. It looks like Hawley's found his legs yet again. Maybe cooled off those tires. The 184 regains the time on Jake Houndshell. I get the feeling that Hawley wants to get this lead back away because he knows he's got to do something since he's behind in points.
Well, with Hawley owning the tiebreaker, I mean, like, oh, wow,
Whoa.
Houndshell in the wall hard. That's going to allow Hawley to get by. We'll see what the Hartman can capitalize as well.
In the blink of an eye, the lead changes yet again. And once again, this plays in favor of Bradley Hawley, just solidifying that most laps led. I think at this point, he might have already passed the halfway, which would be 60 laps, to make sure that he cannot lose that. Definitely can't lose it to Hartman at this point, but it's Houndshell's the only one he's got to worry about. So we see those top three with a truck separating them. William Hartman, is he going to go on the attack? Is he going to get aggressive to try and get by the 0-2?
So he has to go on the attack. He's got nothing to lose at this point. Bradley Hawley being in the lead, that's his championship gone. He has to get by Houndshell, and he has to move Hawley out of the way, get up to that lead position. Otherwise, his championship's over.
28 laps to go to try and do it. We've got 10 minutes left on the clock.
Houndshell loose again.
They are going to run out of time. And that costs him time. That actually could be horrible news for Hartman as well, because if he gets stuck behind a loose Houndshell and Hawley starts to streak away, that will give very little time for Hartman to try and catch Bradley if he can get by.
But Hartman's having a hard time catching up to the big back of Jake Houndshell when Houndshell's got it under control. All these trucks up front with really aggressive brake bias right now, trying to get these trucks to rotate in the middle of the corner and stay fast.
So here's the other question. If we get another caution before the time runs out, do you pit? Do you stay out as track position king and you risk the old tires?
I mean, new tires are significantly faster at the beginning of a run. It really depends on what the guys do behind you. You don't want to take a risk and lose the championship, but at the same time, if guys have faster tires behind you, then they're going to get by and take those points away from you. So as we see Jake Houndshell struggling on his tires, we know that he's probably going to pit if we get a caution.
Less than 9 minutes left to go, and still the 0-2 looks to be dropping off. William Hartman has got to be fretting inside that cockpit. Another slide, a big slide, and in the wall. That frees up the 67. It is down to a truck-to-truck battle, or will it be the 02, as you said, going to re-attack down to the inside in 3 and 4. I don't think he's got enough tires left. Look at him fall off on the corner exit.
Oh, that's about as close as you could get on corner exit there. Jake Hounshaw trying to do everything he can to get past Hartman. Oh, the corner, and he almost gets into him, but really smartly and gentleman racer turns hard left before exiting the corner and manages to keep it out of Hartman.
That's not the way we want to see a championship decided. Okay, Hartman now has clear track ahead of him, but he's got 1.1 seconds to chase down Holly. He only has 8 minutes to do it. What does he have underneath him?
Hartman has been the fastest when it comes to oak track racing, so he's definitely got the legs here. He's already shaved off about half a tenth right now up to Bradley Holly on that lap, so I think he might have an opportunity to make this work.
The clock continues to tick away, removing more and more opportunities for William Hartman to try and take this one. This is going to be tight if he's got the pace. Last time by 21.9 for Hartman. 21.931 versus Holly, who is a 21.915. Holly was faster that time by. What about this one? They crossed the line yet again. It's a 29.7, 21.97. Hartman a 21.96, marginally faster, but that's not going to be enough. Let's go back to P4 where we've got a battle.
Yeah, Rob Haynes and Thomas Cink, these two have been together for quite a while, but Thomas Cink really right on the back of Rob Haynes now, so he is looking for an opportunity to get by, and he's going to have to make something work as Hartman actually hit the wall exiting the corner, but what? Rob Haynes pulls over.
Well, that was unusual.
Especially for the last race of the season. I'm not sure. Maybe Rob Haynes thought Thomas Cink was going to put him in the wall, but he just pulls over and lets him by.
Sister teams, maybe? Helping his sort of teammate as we come up to our leader. We're down to 6 minutes to go now. And Hartman is just not making significant enough inroads on Bradley Holly. They are going to get traffic. It is Austin Hunter. Now, isn't Hunter Hartman's teammate? They come around 1 and 2. Looks like...
So Austin Hunter is actually Bradley Holly's teammate, so he's going to let him by, but that's going to be a trouble for Hartman if he gets up to Hunter. So it's going to be difficult for the two of them to see who sorts it out, to see whether or not the teammates let each other by.
I can't imagine that Hunter's going to do too much to hold him up.
But right ahead of Austin Hunter is Ray Richer, and Ray Richer is William Hartman's teammate.
Go figure. Oh, this is certainly going to come into play because 5 minutes are left and they are coming by very quickly already. Hunter makes it easy. He pulls over, lets him through. Next up is Richer. He goes way down low. Oh, and very gentlemanly. The 68 is going to let the leader by with no hassle.
We'll see whether the 312 does the same for William Hartman. Hartman's closing in here. We'll see what they do.
Oh, and Hunter gets by Richer, though. Are they laps apart? Surprised he let him through. I thought that was a battle for position. Hartman is going to get by Richer. But unfortunately for Richer, he has given it up to Hunter. That was for position. Hunter up to 13th for that championship battle in the teams.
But Hunter staying down low, and Richer is able to close in, and I don't think he got by, though.
In all that, unfortunately for William Hartman, it gapped up to 1.4 seconds, considering how little he was doing on Holly. That could be the death knell. It may say 10 laps to go up on your screen. but it is now only 3.5 minutes left on the clock. We are not going to make it to the finish in time. This is a timed race.
Yeah, Hartman's running out of time. He's running out of time really quick. I don't know if he's got anything more that he can give. Bradley Holly's going to have to make a mistake in order for William Hartman to get up there.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
Holly knows.
And we got a caution. That was Malikian. I hope this doesn't finish under caution after all that excitement. It was Robert Besaw coming through as Malikian thought he was clear on the high side. Yeah, it looks like you're going to see here it happens on the front stretch. The green car thinks he's got no one up top as he drifts up high. Oof. That was a very big crash. And Hartman's in the pits. Hartman is pitting.
Holly is not. We were talking about tires being paramount here and track position being just as paramount. Holly's decided to stay out. Thomas Cink has stayed out. Colton Lane, Robert Besaw Jr., Robert Malikian, they're our new top 5. And Hartman has come into the pits for tires. And he's going to come up behind Rob Haynes.
Is this Hartman sending the running back all the way to the end zone for a Hail Mary? Does he think this is his best chance? Clock is now under 3 minutes left.
He most definitely was not going to win in second position. He wasn't going to win the championship. And if it's all about winning the championship, then I honestly believe that this might be the right move for him, but he's starting in P10. That's a lot of trucks to get through.
Well, this changes everything. And I think we'll be able to get going green once more. I believe we've got just enough time. We've got the 88 heading on into the pits. That's Ray Richard, who's a lap down. Might either be just getting out of the way or taking some scheduled stop. This puts Thomas Cink into second. Colton Lane, P3.
Bradley Holly's in the best position right now. He's got the lead of the race. He's going to be able to start this next restart, but he's got old tires. And so if he spins them, which we haven't seen from him this year, granted, but if he spins those tires, he's going to get eaten alive by the guys behind him. And then those guys on fresh tires are going to be right up there.
Well, at this point, all he has to do is stay a position or two ahead of Hartman, and he's got it sealed up. Hartman back in P7. I think we should get the lights out this time by. They come across, and are they doubling up? Yes, they are. Sort of, maybe, kind of. There we go.
So they're going to restart with 4 laps left. But time is the factor here. We don't know how close it's going to be here. Hartman's going to have a lot of work to do. He's stuck on the inside again. I'm not sure whether this is the right move. We'll see what happens.
Another caution will end the race. Will they stay green until the timer ticks down? Bradley Holly has control, but he's on the inside. He's really got to get the pedal down to take that outside line. He manages it. He's going to slot up high as quick as he can. Meanwhile, already we're seeing some bumping with William Hartman. He gets into the side of Malikian, but Malikian does not get turned. Hartman is in 8th. He's trying to take as many spots as he can. Up at the front, it is still Holly leading.
Hartman really struggling in the back there. He's trapped behind Robert Besaw Jr. They're really plowing through these lap cars now, but this is his chance. He might actually be able to make this work if he doesn't run out of time.
That time is so little at this point. Less than a minute left now. I believe we are 3 laps to go as they cross the line. 2 laps to go, we hear now. Holly is extending away, even on old tires. Cink's got nothing for him, and it is an absolutely plugged track for poor William Hartman, who tried his best with fresh tires. He cannot get by anybody ahead of him.
Hartman's run out of time. Thomas Cink has just got to keep it straight for these next couple of corners, and he's got this in the bag.
White flag is out. This is it for Bradley Holly. Coming around turn 3, into 4. There are multiple cars. We got spin happening behind him, but it is Holly who is going to take the victory and the championship here today at Lucas Oil Raceway.
What an impressive race. Thomas Cink, Rob Haynes behind him, and then William Hartman coming home in 4th position.
It was Jake Hounshell who got tipped by, I believe that was Brendan Chatley, and unfortunately lost a bunch of spots there at the very end. I think we got a replay of the incident. Austin Hunter as well had his engine smoking at the end. We must have missed something there.
Yeah, Jake Hounshell just threw it into the corner, so it's going to be... He really decided that this was his last opportunity, and he just chucked it in there down low as he could go, and it didn't work out for him.
Unfortunately, it looks like we won't be able to get the replay, so that's going to take us... we do have the replay. Here we go. Chatley and Hounshell were the ones that got together. Yeah, just clip that left rear. This is from the 312's perspective now.
I just believe Austin Hunter I think he just blew his engine just based upon raw temperature. We'll see what happens here. Oh no, he's the one
gets
who
the
clobbers.
O0. And that does him in. So we're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll come back after this with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. On screen, you're going to see all the upcoming races here on the GSRC, so don't go away. Welcome back to Lucas Oil Raceway, better known as Indianapolis Raceway Park. This small little oval hosted the season finale for the PRL Truck Series, and in the end, Bradley Hawley took away not just the victory, but the championship ahead of Thomas Cink, but it was not Cink behind Hawley for much of this race. Haynes finished in third, and the other championship rival who led coming in the points, William Hartman, took a gamble, took tires. It didn't work out. A messed up qualifying is what set the tone, and he just couldn't recover. He took fourth, has to settle for second in the championship. Brendan Chatley gets P5 with Colton Lane taking sixth. Mike Richter finishes P7th, and then Robert Besaw 8th. Dominic Bijin is 9th, and Jake Hounshell takes a top 10.
His relation, Jason Hounshell, coming home in 11th position. Then we have Robert Malikian, after holding up William Hartman on that restart, comes home in 12th position, unfortunately. Ray Richer in the 13th position finishes ahead of Austin Hunter in the 14th position. Then Adam Zemke, after a storied night for him, into the 15th position, and Ronald McManus 16th. Then we have John LaBath in 17th, Nick Delp in 18th, J.R. Smith in 19th, and then I believe Jason Thorndike, Harrison Chandler, and Eric Roberts did not start.
Indeed, and I believe we have our winner and new champion, Bradley Hawley, with us today. Bradley, congratulations on the championship. How do you feel?
Pretty happy.
I have to imagine so. What were your feelings, though, at the start of the race? You qualified extremely well. I can't imagine that you managed to miss that your championship rival was all the way at the back. What's going through your mind when that happened?
Well, with me not getting the pole and everything, I knew I was 2 points behind. So if I could lead at least one lap and most laps, I was going to have a good chance of winning.
Towards the end of the race, you had been repassed by, I believe it was Jake Hounshell, one of the two Houndshells, who managed to get right back by you. And it seemed like you definitely wanted to get ahead of him. Was that your intent, to just try and take the victory if you could, to put things in your own hands?
Oh, yes, for sure. Jake ran me really clean, and me getting into the wall was my own fault, trying to outbrake him going into the corners. And, it was just good, hard racing.
Next season, the trucks will be back once again here on the Global SimRacing Channel. I look forward to us covering it. But will you be back to defend this title?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. We look forward to that. And again, congratulations on an awesome run in that number 184. You earned this victory and this championship, sir.
Thank you very much.
That was Bradley Hawley enjoying the moment. And I believe, Adam, you've caught up with Thomas Cink, who had a bit of a surprise second place today.
Yes, I do. Yes. Thomas Cink, after being mired back in the 5th and 6th positions, coming home second must come as a little bit of a surprise. But that late pit strategy, what made you make that decision to stay out?
Brad, we were all on team chat, and I was like, what are we doing? What are we going to do? And he's like, well, I'm staying out. And I'm like, well, I'm coming in then, because I want to try to do it the opposite of what everyone else did. And then that last second, I'm like, nope, there's no way. I have to stay out. The only chance I have to get a top 5 is stay out.
A really impressive run with you. You were battling with, I believe it was Brendan Chatley, for quite a few laps there in that middle stint. What made it so that you were able to get by him in the end?
Well, I knew that there was no way of passing him on the bottom. The setup's not there. The way the track design is, I knew I couldn't do it. So I was just trying to save tires and run behind him. And then eventually I just wore him out to the point where he was like, go by, you're faster. And I was like, no, I'm not. But I took it anyways. And I was able to save enough tire to, I think I drove up to like 5th or 4th or something like that.
Well, phenomenal race for you, Thomas. Is there anyone you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank ETC for putting on this race, PRL for hosting the race, Vested Interest in K9 as a sponsor on my truck. Again, they do great things for military and police. They provide free to the police departments as donations bullet and ballistic resistant and spike resistant vest for dogs to give them the utmost protection as possible.
Awesome. Well, once again, fantastic race tonight, Thomas, and we look forward to seeing you next season.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Joe, and it looks like you have caught up with our third place driver, Rob Haynes.
I have indeed, and Rob went from 10th to 3rd, but it seemed like you had a few scares along the way. The first one on that very first lap coming through 3 and 4. What was that like, being right behind an accident before you even see the first lap completed?
Yeah, that was a bit sketchy, Joe. Yeah, coming through there, I just knew I had to stay high and avoid the guy turning in front of me, and I managed to do that. And tough race tonight. Couldn't get it to roll through the corners the way I like it. This is a one tough track, especially with these guys from PRL.
You obviously still managed to make it work in the end, although a few things played in your favor. Is this your first time racing Lucas Oil Raceway in the truck?
No, I think I've been here once or twice. I just never had the best luck here. Even in practice, I was a little bit frustrated. It's a tough track. I mean, you want to run the low line. The truck wants to run the low line, but the high line is the faster line. So it's a balancing act there between getting too high and tapping the wall and damaging your truck, and then it can just domino from there. So I'm happy coming out here with a third. Proud of the year I've had with PRL, and appreciate what Global SimRacing Channel's doing, and you, Joe, Adam, Sean, and having fun. And I'm going to be back again for the next season.
Oh, that's great stuff to hear. How did the championship battle affect how you raced today, though? Were you aware of how close it was between Hartman and Hawley, and did that change how you raced either of them at any point?
Yeah, again, it comes down to this track being a final track. It's almost like Homestead. It's a tough place to race and get an advantage of any sort. So no, I'm just happy to bring it home third. I wasn't sure how tight it was. I knew it was close, but I knew Bradley, man, he's fast here, and so is William. So I just did the best I could and brought it home third, podium finish, and I'm happy with that. And again, appreciate what Precision Racing League's doing. These guys are great, these drivers, and I'm having fun and looking forward to the next season.
Well, we're looking forward to it as well. That was Rob Haynes, third place driver out there today. Certainly seemed to enjoy himself. And as much as we enjoyed it, it's all got to come to a finish for the season. But we will be coming back with more coverage of the trucks. We're already in talks for next season, and for all intents and purposes, PRL will be back on Wednesday nights. A big thank you goes out to our sponsor, Establish Traffic Control. You can check them out at establishtraffic.com if you want to see if maybe they could design a custom sign for you or help you in other ways. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Adam, Sean, and Dougie, with a special thank you to Nick for covering all season. I'm sad that he couldn't be here for the finale, but very happy that I could step in for him. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Head on over to our YouTube page if you're not there already. There's a big red button that says subscribe. Click that. You won't miss a moment here on the GSRC. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen. Check those out and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.